Blitz coming. Dilfer screen to Alexander.
Oh, the perfect call.
Alexander breaks the tackle off to the races. Needs a block. Goodbye, Sean Alexander.
Friend, the forward writer of Field Guide for Genuine Community. And oh yeah, NFL MVP. There we go. There we go. Thank you, Sean, my friend, for joining me today.
It's such a needed tool for so many people, especially just talking about community and real family. So I'm thankful that you wrote it.
But what does genuine community look like for you and for the Alexander family?
I think it's always about having a real intimate conversation, being able to look into somebody's life and then being able to challenge or encourage it to keep on going for Jesus. Unfortunately, we live in a society where everybody can play the game and look polished, but not really show how messy life is. And so you've articulated very well that real family is messy. Everybody's got cousins, not none of us, but cousins that have done some things that they would be ashamed of. And instead of ignoring it or shaming them, real family is about coming together and being willing to go through all of it, the goods and the bads, the championships, and even the times where you know that you've messed it all up. And so real family is not scared to go through all of that together.
And I've been in your house. I've seen how your family lives and just people coming in and out. And there's just an openness and a hospitality and generosity. What are some of the hardest parts of genuine community? And then what are some of the most beautiful parts that kind of keep you guys going with that life that you guys live?
Some of the hardest parts is, when you hear most people want to take their pastorship off or they want to take their ministry hat off and just rest. That's not really the hardest part. The hardest part is when somebody wants to be fake, you know what I mean? And so the hardest part of it, anything, is when somebody is living a lie. They fall into the persona known as, the artist formerly known as, and that becomes hard because you can't help but be human and say, well, gosh, if they lied about that, what else are they lying about? And that's a hard thing to go through. But the greatest thing is when you see growth. You see a person that fully didn't believe that they were who God called them to be. They fully didn't believe inside them was enough to go and impact the world or even make other disciples or even conquer the old demon that used to be always on them. And so excitement is seeing them mature into who God's created them to be.
You've obviously had a long history of people playing on teams together, pursuing a goal together that's greater than any individual. How does that team mentality fit exactly what you're saying as far as needing other people alongside us?
Well, it's taken time for me because, of course, I'm still maturing in that, but people don't always have the same talents and they don't have the same positions. And so usually that becomes the biggest issue. They start comparing each other to each other, and comparing always ends in disaster. One of the things I always tell my kids is don't compare, compete. And what does compete mean? It means you play your role at the highest level that you can. And a lot of people say, well, I'm competing against this person. Well, you got to be careful. Now you just compared yourself to what that person's doing, right? Competing is here's my responsibility and I'm going to go do it at a high level within me and the gifts that God's given me. And so that's how I look at church family. Hey, don't compare yourself to somebody. Go be you to the family and do it at a high level. That's the beauty of family, is that everybody gets to come in and we get to bring glory to God for where we are and where we are about to go. Yeah, my hope is that people have real relationships. I mean, it's so powerful to know that you can be yourself. You can actually talk what's real. What are you really thinking? What's really going on in your life and job and family and all that? But I like the four, I call them the 4 lie groups. You had a different title for it, but it was the groups of people that are really not healthy for people to really grow in the Lord. And, I wrote them down. One is when it's good for you and not everybody else. So in other words, you're looking for what's the most healthy group for you and how damaging it is to your future. Another one is one that's a common for you. In other words, everybody kind of does something that you do and how dangerous that is. A third one that really kind of rocked me was one that is not challenging to you. In other words, people don't get into your stuff. And the fourth one is when you shift your groups depending on the stage of life. Well, I'm a teen, so I'm hanging with teens, and I'm single, so I'm hanging with singles, and now I'm married, so I'm going to hang with married. Now I'm married with 3 kids, so now I can hang with people with 3 kids or more. Now I get 10 kids, okay, so I'm going to hang with a 10 kid group. This is my job. I'm going to hang with people that make this kind of money. All 4 of those groups are lying groups because that's not really the body. The body has toes and elbows and knees and ears and eyes, and everybody's uniquely gifted and uniquely different. And so some things that somebody that's a part of your group should kind of bother you because either they do it and they're a nose, but they don't really quite walk right. It's like, well, they shouldn't. They're a nose, And when you get the right group, there's this healthy, man, that's so encouraging, that's so inspiring how well they do that. Oh, but this is also frustrating because they don't do this thing that I do really well. That is the making of a really good group. And so my goal for everybody is to get yourself in a real body and then get yourself into a good inner circle that says, hey, we're different, but we're going to encourage each other, challenge each other, inspire each other to go all in for Jesus. That's real family. It is the greatest life to have people with you that know you, know your weaknesses, can see the things that you can't even see about yourself, and still love you, inspire you, and challenge you to go be greater in Jesus. It's the greatest life.